The Ocean's Pit, a little show about big things. Hope you guys are having a great day. We got a great show lined up for you today. We got the incredible Irene Michaels in the house today on Ocean's Pit. The little show about big things, folks, as my special guest should be coming on in a couple minutes. Boy, we got so much stuff that happened this past weekend. First of all, remember, Ocean's Pit's on Monday through Friday. Lunchtime fun from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock where you guys are enjoying yourself. And I hope that you keep supporting live entertainment and local establishments. Check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com, and give us a call at 847-769-8609 to book a show, folks. And remember, every show is dedicated to the first responders. That's right, everybody that's working very hard to take care of us. And mostly, it's dedicated to people like you, and that's what it's all about. Folks, oh boy, am I excited. What a great week that we got going on. Now, if you watch the format, if you're watching it for the very first time, you can see us on the Tony Ocean Show Facebook page, on my personal page, the Mo Carrara page. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and the Ocean's Pit page. Now, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we have guests. Tuesday, I shoot the shit with you. And Thursday, my lovely co-host is my lovely wife, Laura Ocean. We have a lot of fun on Thursday. What a week of guests. Wednesday, another great entertainer from Chicagoland, of course, Mr. Ron Starr will be our guest on Wednesday. And then Friday, another great friend, the great Denise Tomasello, will be our guest this Friday coming up. So we got a big, busy week coming up of guests, and thank you guys for watching today. Let's get right to the sponsors, folks. Remember, every show is brought to you by Ace Hardware, Norwich, Des Plaines, Evergreen Park, Warrenville. Remember, they've been helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods. That's Ace Hardware, folks. Got so many great deals available. U-Haul Trek Rentals, folks. Norwich and Des Plaines. I'm sorry, it's too early. In Warrenville. Also, they have the great outdoor variety of outdoor furniture, a unique lawn and garden decor, as well as flowers, vegetables, herbs, plants. Grill your ace off. That's right. Tell them grill your ace off and get $20 off any grill purchase at any looking foldable here at Ace Hardware, folks. Norwich, Des Plaines, Evergreen Park, and Warrenville. All right, so they've been helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods. Let's not forget our good buddies from Gorelli Pavement Servicing. That's right, Gorelli Pavement Service. Knows and curb your peel in your home and business, largely affected by concrete and asphalt. They do business in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Indiana. Call Laura and Barb today for a free estimate at 815-271-5835. That's 815-271-5835. That's Gorelli Pavement Service. Tell them Tony O sent you. I tell you, folks, we've had an incredible weekend. I'm very fortunate between working Wednesday through Sunday and trying to keep everything going and keep everything straight. Plus this podcast Monday through Friday. Couldn't do without you people that watch every day. If you're not watching at 12, I know you guys are watching it in the other formats, and it's on all the time, so you guys can see all the O shows as well. We got coming up in January, folks. It's big. We always mention it every day on this show because I am so overwhelmed that the people that actually signed on to the Tony Ocean main event, Mojo's Jukebox and Seventh Heaven Cruise coming up January 7th to January 14th. Over 200 people just for the Tony Ocean Band. And that's got nothing to do with Mojo's and Seventh Heaven. So it's going to be an incredible event. Now, if you're just hearing about it for the first time, Chicago Music Cruise is going to happen. That's January 7th to January 14th, 2024. 7 nights Eastern Caribbean cruise on the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. The biggest ship on the water right now. It's 4, get this, folks, 4 football fields long. 4. It's going to be great. We're starting off in Orlando, Florida, then going to Coco Cay, Bahamas, which is a private island that only those wonders of the sea can get to. So it's a great island in the Bahamas. Then we're going to St. Thomas and St. Martin, folks. Tony Ocean, the main event band. Of course, Danny Ramundi, Tony Toto, Jerry Jams. And then, of course, let's not forget Mojo's Jukebox, my brand new rock band who just opened up for Chicago last week in Iowa. And, of course, the world-renowned, the best Seventh Heaven, Richie and the crew. It's going to be fantastic. A little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of Vegas style, all in one, 7 nights. on the wonders of the sea, go to chicagomusiccruise.com. You're watching Ocean's Pit Litter Show about big things. Let's take care of a couple other sponsors here. Before we bring on the incredible Irene Michaels, let's get right to Roy McCampbell, attorney at law. That's right. A statewide law practice that is client-focused and results-driven. Call Roy McCampbell at 708-275-4264. How about Laura Ocean Solutions? Increasing profits while reducing credit card fees. You'll never have to shop again if you go through Laura Ocean Solutions. Let's not forget Deutsch Power Center out of Elgin, Illinois. Servicing the construction diesel industry in the Chicagoland area for the last 100 years. That's Deutsch Power Center, 224-276-6550. That's Deutsch Power Center. And we'll get back to some more, folks. I am excited. Going to be a lot of fun. Now, what a weekend we had, folks. Now, of course, thank you so much. Friday night, Chicago Prime was a great turnout. We really enjoyed it. Now, Saturday was a big event for myself and my lovely wife, Laura. Priscilla Presley. Priscilla Presley, for all you Elvis fans. But before we do that, let's say hello to some people that are watching right now. Let's get them on there. I think got a little, there we go. Let's bring them on here, folks. Oh, look at that. Ryan, great seeing you. Kathy, Kim Peterson, a few. Albert from the Ronald Esty organization. Danny Ramonde, buddy, great job last night. Carol, New Jersey, New York, Jerry Jams, Tony Toto, Richie Hamlin. Hello, Iowa. Hello, Ohio. Hello, Cleveland. Aho, gotta love Santa Barbara, California. Kathy, how you guys all doing? All right. So Saturday during the day, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Eric Todd, how you doing, buddy? Great seeing you and your lovely wife there, buddy. Thank you so much for all the compliments. Mary, great seeing you guys. Fantastic. Now, it was just wonderful. When I got a call 2-3 weeks ago, I knew Priscilla Presley was coming to the Des Plaines Theater, doing a show for Ron Onesti on the Sunday, I think it was. Yeah, it was the Sunday. But I was working, so I knew I couldn't go to the show, and I didn't think anything of it. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, my buddy Jimmy Place, who brought Priscilla in with Ron and put the show together, whatever it was. Jimmy's been around for many, many years and a good guy. So he called me, goes, listen, I want to invite you and your lovely wife to meet Priscilla at Teddy Koloff's salon in Northfield on Saturday. So, sure, I said, that'd be great. I'd like to meet her. You know, you guys know I admired Elvis. You know, he wasn't my favorite. Of course, he was fantastic, the king, and there's never going to be another one like him. You know what I mean? But I wasn't crazy about him like a lot of people are. But I love some of his music. I thought, you know, what he did for rock and roll, what he did for fashion, what he did for everything was like over the top, you know. So this is the closest you're ever going to get to meet Elvis Presley, right? So we go to Teddy Koloff's in Northfield at 12 o'clock, and we walked in, and Jimmy brought us right upstairs to meet her, and just what a sweet lady. I mean, she took about maybe 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes with everybody in line, and we took pictures, and you posed, and we talked, and we asked her questions like, what was it like getting up in the morning and, you know, being with Elvis? She goes, there was no mornings. Our breakfast was at 4:30 in the afternoon. Then we watched movies all night. You know, then their home studio or their home video or whatever. They sat and watched movies all night. I mean, what else? What are you going to ask her that nobody already knows already? But she was sweet. She was kind. Took great pictures. And again, Jimmy Place, thank you for that. B.J. Murray was there with Phyllis the Hodges. Came with us. Nick wasn't there. He wasn't feeling good, but we miss you, Nick. Anyway, it was a great time. So that was during the day at 12 o'clock. Then we're ready to Saturday night, Ocean's Rat Pack did our very first show at the Vixen Theater in McHenry, Illinois. About 400 people. What a great theater it is. There's no food. It's all liquor, you know, but you can order food in. But Bill Saratella, Elliot Wenbush, what a great job. Jerry Jams. It was just a lot of fun at the Vixen Theater. I didn't think I can top all that. And then Sunday, for my own hometown of Elk Grove Village, they had a big giant car show, and they had a truck, food trucks out there. And then the Grassroots were playing at 7 o'clock, the legendary Grassroots. So I want to thank Murray and Jake Weiner from EMG Entertainment for booking us there. It was great. The mayor, Craig Johnson, Thank you, Steve Schmidt and Cindy, the Elk Grove trustees. It was great seeing, of course, Tony Denise, everybody that came out. Albert, thank you. Ryan Lewis was there. Tina, it was great seeing Pam and Dave and everybody. So just a thank you for the town of Elk Grove to be playing in my hometown right down the street from the house, which is fantastic. And I can't thank enough Jerry Jams Renda, incredible job. Tony Double T Toto from the Heart and Danny Raimondi for coming out and blasting some my great band members who were just on fire. 2-hour show straight, nonstop. We just knocked them out with all the songs, and people stayed and people danced and they had a great time. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate that. You're watching Ocean's Pit, little show about big things. One more sponsor. We're bringing up our guest today, the great Irene Michaels. Boy, am I excited. It's going to be cool. Let's go to another sponsor here, folks. How about Don Esteban Cigars out of Tarpon Springs, Florida? Tell them you want the Tony Ocean special. They're hand-rolled, delivered, sent right to your house. That's 727-366-7536. And then Trico Hair Experts out of Rosemont, Illinois, recreating great hair days. Anthony and Carmela, 773-999-7888. That's Oceans. That's Trico Hair Experts. All right. So let's bring up our guest. I've known Irene for many, many years. I met Irene, I think originally, I think it had to be Jilly's downtown. I was there working every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday for 15 years, and I met Irene and Arnie back then, and she just, she does. Irene Michaels is a woman who's done it all, between being an off-Broadway play, The Chorus Line, from being a model, from being on television, being on film, being a singer, producer. She's an author. She had two EPs out. And right now, she's just putting everything together. A great show, folks. She's going to be at the Carnival Alley Speakeasy on the 12th of July. She's also up for the nomination of the Rising Star Award at the Josie Awards coming up in October in Nashville, Tennessee. Actually, I haven't seen her in a long time, and I seen her at the Grand Ole Opry last year when we were there. So it was great, the connection that we made again, and I hope we're going to maybe do some shows together, me and Irene. It's going to be a lot of fun. So reached out to her, said, would she do the show? And she said she'd be happy to, and I'm happy to have her. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's bring up the great Irene Michaels in the house. Irene, how are you doing, my dear?
Hi, Tony. I've been listening to you. Wow, you have a lot on your plate.
It's just a little crazy. And we're trying. Listen, first of all, thank you for doing this. I really do appreciate it. Irene, you're the same. I mean, looking at that profile through the years, your bio stuff that you've done. I mean, you've had your hands in everything, in the music, TV, film, modeling, all that stuff. I mean, that's fantastic. A lot of work you put together for that, and that's fantastic that you do that. How are you feeling right now? Everything good?
Everything's great.
Fantastic. All right, let's get right to the thing. Where were you born, Irene?
Right here in Chicago, right downtown Chicago, Illinois.
Big family? Did you come up from a big family?
I had 2 brothers,
okay,
1 sister. I had 12 aunts and uncles, maybe 40 cousins. My mother had 12 brothers and sisters. My father had 12 brothers and sisters. So.
Well, you know what? Growing up in Chicago, so was your family like into entertainment? Were they singers? Were they actors? Were they dancers? Were they anything like that, your family?
I have 1 cousin that was a dancer.
Okay. So would you say that who influenced you when you were growing up? Was it someone you seen on TV? Was it a family member? Was it a friend? How did that all come about?
Actually, I went to my first dance lesson with my cousin. I think I was 11 years old. And from that day forward, I fell in love with the arts, dancing, singing, acting, all of it. And so as I grew into a teenager, I met a woman by the name of Clara Powell. And I don't know if you know her, Tony, but she had a big school and she was a famous dancer. She was an actress. And the name of her academy was the Powell Academy for Dancers. And I was her protege. And so she took me under her wing and taught me all about dance and music and singing. And I did that for probably 20 years with her, from the time I was 11 all the way to maybe 25 or so.
That,
And so she was a big influence on me.
well, you know what? I read some of your stuff there, the chorus line, when you got into off Broadway. That must have been kind of cool. Doing off Broadway plays are fun. When I did the Rat Pack show, at Piper's Alley for those years that we were there. How was that when you very first got into a production? I mean, how was that? Was it kind of nervous when you first started?
Well, I think you're not normal or sane if you're not nervous. I get nervous for 2 seconds every time I go on stage.
You have to be.
And I think most performers do. But then you need that. You need that excitement and adrenaline going. Plays and being on theater or in theater in New York is very difficult. It's really strenuous work.
Yeah.
And some of the people have 8 shows a week, and they have full energy all day long. So it's very tiring. So I don't know how some of the older actors keep up with all of it, because really, even when I stopped doing it at 35, it's like, whoa, this takes a lot of energy.
Irene, also when you're doing live plays in theater, I mean, you have to those lyrics. You have to all memorize those things, right? I mean, they don't have. I mean, that's got to be live theater's got to be very difficult.
Very difficult, because there's no room for mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you make them too often, you're not there very long.
Correct. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Irene, growing up, was your family behind when you try to get into the arts career? Did they give you a hard time? You know, because a lot of times when kids are growing up and trying to get into this business, like my dad, after I left the bakery, what? You're leaving $42 an hour to become a singer? What, are you nuts? Did you have that, or did you have the support of your family growing up?
Oh, that's such a great question. My father was very much for my career. My mother would have preferred for me to be a housewife and have a bunch of children and just carry on the tradition. But I was never that way since I was born. When I was 3 years old, I was all dressed up in my little outfit, sitting on my porch on Polk Street and up in the west side of Chicago, trying to interview people as they were walking through the neighborhood. And she'd say, Irene, you can't talk to everybody like that. I mean, that's not safe. But I always did. I was always very curious and very disciplined. I was adventurous, never for a long time, for most of my life.
I mean, it's got to be very difficult. Like I said, I mean, you were voted one of the top 10 models in the city of Chicago alone. Now, going into that business, and I asked a lot of my women guests that are on the show, no matter what field you're in, when you're getting into something like that, was it hard because you were a woman in the modeling and in the theater and stuff like that? Well, at that time you're a woman. I don't know. But did you get a lot of headaches with that? I mean, was it a bumpy ride or was it an easy ride?
Yeah, it wasn't a bumpy ride. It was. I had my blinders on, so it didn't matter what output was out there. I just went for it, and I was disciplined enough just to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Many people give up, and then later in life they say, I wish I would have stuck with that or done that. And you're fortunate if you were able to do that and have the discipline like yourself. I mean, look at all the things that you do and the performances you do. I mean, you have to have pretty good energy to do that also.
Sure. And you're right. And you have to and you kind of, I noticed through your bio that you keep reinventing yourself, which is very, very important in this field. You ran a model agency. What was that like? How was it like being a model when you have people like all over you? I mean, you get these magazines and you're on TV and film, and how does that all? I mean, that's got to be kind of. How do you keep it up here? Because I know a lot of people lose it when they get to that certain point.
Well, it's interesting about modeling, because before I was modeling, I was acting in film.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My first film here was in Chicago called Mickey One with Warren Beatty.
Sure.
So it was a long time ago. And I did several things after that. But then I decided to do some modeling because I wanted to be more local because my family was here. And then I became pretty popular as a model. But when I first got into modeling, and I was just with a camera and a one-person photographer in a big empty room, I thought, how unexciting is this? Because you don't have your audience, you don't have all the happenings that are going on a set, you don't have the musicians around, you have nothing except one person and a camera that you don't talk to.
Sure. Yeah.
So I thought, oh, how boring this is. But then I got over that really quickly when I started becoming popular and getting on magazine covers and traveling the world. So I was really
Irene, do you
fortunate.
remember your first cover on the magazine? What was it? Do you remember?
Miss Photo Flash.
What was that like? I mean, you get the copy in your hand. I remember when I was in 1985, I got the cover of Illinois Entertainer. You're like, ah, I mean, that had to be very, very cool. And had to be kudos to you for that, right?
You know who got me that cover was our dear old friend Irv Kupcinet.
Ah, Herb was the best. Absolutely. They don't make them. They don't make them like those people anymore. They're not there no more, right, Irene?
Unfortunately, no. I actually think my husband is one of the people that are like that air
Sure,
from
sure.
that still, can reminisce about and talk to about it.
Well, they were
And just,
those people. Those people made you or broke you. It's like even, but sometimes and you can tell me this, Irene, when you're doing Broadway, off Broadway, and do stuff like that, you're doing stuff. One um, person can like the guy if he's like doesn't like the play. If he doesn't, he can just ruin the whole play. Can ruin your career too. One of these people, these journalists, whatever you call them, these people that come out and they say if the show is good, if they're not good. These critics, as you would say, I mean,
Mhm.
that's really unfair sometimes because there's a lot of great actors, singers, actresses out there busting their butt, and one guy just doesn't like it, or a woman could destroy something like that.
Be very harmful. You're right. It can be.
It's a little crazy. We had a friend, our friend Tina St. Angelo says, ask Irene, did she work with Joe Pop at the Circle?
Joe Pop. No, I did not.
Okay, there you go, Tina. There's your answer. We have the great Irene Michaels with us, folks. Let's go to a quick sponsor. How about Armando Supermarkets in Elgin, 925 Liberty Street? Buy local, shop local. That's Armando Supermarkets. And don't forget Mike and Gigi from Crash Champions Collision Auto Repair. For all your collision and auto repair needs, go to crashchampions.com. You're watching Ocean's Pit, little show about the things. The great Irene Michaels is with us. Irene, TV or film? You've done a little bit of both. Do you? Which one was harder for you?
Which one was harder? I think I'll put it like this. TV was a lot more fun. Film, it's not that one is harder than the other, but in film you have 16 to 20-hour days, and in TV they have a time frame they have to stick with, so everything's a little more fast paced per se.
Sure.
So I think they're both hard. I think they're both you know trying sometimes,
Sure.
but it's all both. If you're creating, I think as a performer or an artist, as long as you're creating and performing, you don't really think about, oh, is this hard? You're just happy to be there
Right. You get in.
and be a part of
Yeah, you get that
it.
point. I remember at one time when you were doing TV, a lot of people said, or people that were doing film didn't want to go back to TV because they thought it might have been a step down back in the step, right? And it was at one particular time, correct?
Yes, but that's so changed.
Completely
TV,
changed.
yeah,
I mean, General,
is called.
General, you were on General Hospital. You just did something. I seen your performance on the Mr. Kelly documentary. Boy, was that fantastic! Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Now, Irene, what about the people that are watching that maybe never went to Mr. Kelly's or Jilly's? How would you tell people that if you talk to somebody now? What's a Jilly's? What was a Mr. Kelly's like? What was that like? Tell them.
Well, Mr. Kelly's, there's nothing like Mr. Kelly's, and still there's nothing like Mr. Kelly's. But I really have had more experience with Jilly
Sure.
and Jilly's on Rush Street here in Chicago. And a lot of that is because I was dating Jilly Rizzo at the
There
time.
you go.
And Jilly was Frank Sinatra's road manager. So I got to be involved with Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr. The only person I never met was Dean Martin, which is really strange now that I think about it. But everybody else, Don Rickles, the whole slew of them. And it was quite an interesting time in my life. I traveled a little bit with them. I was always in the wings backstage when they were performing. I adore Jilly. He's a great dancer. And that's how we kind of got to have a relationship, that we talked about dance.
Sure.
And I said, well, I would dancer on Broadway. And he said, oh, yeah, let's see how you can dance. So he takes me up the bar stool and starts whipping me around in Jilly's. But he was a little shocked that I could keep up with him.
There you go. You put it up for that's yeah. I mean, we got a great history of stuff there. Irene, you also, I mean, stage singer, songwriter. You an instrument. You're being with your piano. Do you play a piano too? You play an instrument?
I play piano and I play guitar. I'm better on the guitar than the piano.
You've got a band called Our House Band. What's that all about?
Yes, our house was developed during our COVID. Um, during I hadn't sang for 10 years, maybe 15 years. And then when I was doing other things, and then when COVID hit, we weren't, we were kind of stuck at home. So I started fiddling around with the piano and playing a little guitar. And I thought, maybe I'll just write a song. And I started writing music. And then one thing led to another. And I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll start taking vocal lessons via Zoom, which I did. And I thought, I have missed this so much. I'm going to start up again. So I talked with Artie, who was my husband, who's the co-founder of Jam Productions and a million other things. I told him, if I want to go back to performing, let's just start with the piano player. And maybe I was doing open mics in the city and any place I could sing.
Sure.
Pellegrino's on Monday night, I was always there. And so then I said, I think it's time to get a few musicians and see if we could, do music. And so we decided to do a band or get a group of people together called Our House. And where that concept came from is that Arnie, dealt with the majors in the world, the Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, all of them. Everybody that's out there now, he's done.
Sure.
He's worked with. The only one he hasn't worked with is Elvis Presley.
There you go.
But he said, all right, I've never done anything locally. So he started, coming along with me to different places. And he said, there's a lot of great talent here.
Absolutely, there is.
So now, fast forwarding, I have some great players in my band. I have James Perkins. I have singer Yvonne Gage. I had Fred Simon, Jeremy Kahn, Michael Keith, Michael Austin, Sonny Luca, Richard Patterson, Bob Davis. Those are all great players.
Great players.
And half of those players are from the old Miles Davis band. Group.
Bob Davis played with me for many years. So you know what? Yeah, you got you put those musicians. You got the top in the city, and they're fantastic. You're watching Ocean's Pit, little show about big things with Irene Michaels. You have 2 EPs out. When you write your music, Irene, your original songs are they about things that happen in your life, or do you just new stuff out of your head when you write your songs?
No, not necessarily. I originally get I'm humming some sort of melody, and I'll put the lyrics to the melody.
Okay.
Now, if I was writing lyrics first, I would write my story first. But generally, I hear the music first, and then I write the lyrics. Because I Like Rain, which is I just released it on Trax Records. It has become very popular, and it's #2 on the charts, and it's really doing very well. And it has nothing to do with whether I like rain or not.
Right. Sure. Yeah, well, then you look at artists who write mostly sometimes about their personal experiences. I mean, look at Taylor Swift, all about her breakups, and these songs go gold. And Bruce Springsteen used to write about a lot of personal stuff. So it's just great that you can write your own songs. I mean, it's a very personal thing to write songs because it comes from your heart. And, it's try to put stuff out there. That's fantastic. Another thing that you just keep reinventing yourself. You got a big show coming up on the 12th of July of the beautiful Carnival, the Alley Speakeasy. I played there twice. What a great place that is.
I saw that show. That was great.
Thank you, Irene. I'm glad you and Artie shared that show. It was a lot of fun. And you know what? What happened? I mean, Irene, you've been around forever. What happened with these? The clubs are gone. The places to play are gone. What happened to the city of Chicago? They used to have all the agencies. They had the actors, and they had the agents, and it's all gone here in the city. Why? What do you think happened?
Well, that's my question too. Economy, maybe a little bit of the economy. And although that being said, Cinespace, which was owned by what was his name now,
Yes.
Alex, he brought a lot of that back to the city, where a lot of musicians,
Yeah.
actors, directors are now working on a daily basis. We in the city have 13 series being shot here, so that's pretty
That is
good.
fantastic when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, you're
When
absolutely
it
right.
comes to
Yeah.
that, when it comes to what we do as performers, like the Osages,
Yes.
places like that, I think, Tony, they're slowly coming back. The restaurant Toulouse was starting to do
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
For some reason, it didn't work, but that was beautiful. But they're gonna come back. Then the new Old Max Seams is opening up.
That's what I heard.
With
Yes. Yes. That's what,
Pataritos is building a stage again for more music to come. So I think it is happening. Lay Piano, Epiphany, those are all places. Jazz Showcase that's been there
forever.
forever.
Correct. Yeah.
At LA, and I think people will have so much fun at the LA. Thank you, Billy Mirabitz, Senator Mirabitz.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I mean, he's a character in himself. He can run his own show up there. I mean, people. I mean,
I think he should be in the show,
I
don't
think
you?
so. He's the type of guy that and remember at that time, at those times when Gillies played, there was places that you'd go see because of the maitre d or because of the owner. He was the guy. Wherever these people were, they'd come in. Let's go see him or whatever. And it was so
Right.
it was so different back then. And I'm hoping that maybe that the younger generation might catch on to try to keep this going because I think we really need it, especially in the city of Chicago. That
Definitely. But Tony, more than half of the world is baby
yeah,
boomers. So you would think they'd want to see that because every time, like you do a show like that from the past with all those great, artists, everybody loves it.
yeah.
So
I think so too. I think it's very, very important. Irene Michaels, now you're up for nomination for the Josie Awards. You know what? When I first heard about the Josie Awards to my buddy Nick and Phyllis Sahajas, one day they called me off the cuff. They said, "You've been nominated." I go, "I have? For what?" He goes, "The Josie Awards in Nashville, Tennessee, for the at the Grand Ole Opry for Ocean's Pit." And we won. That was fantastic. I went down to me and my wife. It was like, Mike, and that's where I seen you there. I mean, they started Tina and Josie. They started that thing, and it's grown so big now. I mean, it was beautiful at the Grand Ole Opry, and here you are. And it's a love to have an award for people that are like not signed and not noticed yet or something like that. I mean, it's just those rising stars. I mean, look what you got. That's going to be fantastic for you. And I'm
yes.
going back this year. I'm excited. Explain to people who don't know what the Josie Awards is about. What was your first reaction when you were there?
Well, the reason that I got involved originally that is from a group called the Heels,
Yes.
who are out of Canada, and Arnie manages them,
Hmm.
and they were sought after to come and get an award because their music was getting very popular. And before that, I didn't hear much about the Josie
I
Awards.
mean, yeah.
And so I found out about it when I was there and backstage and became friendly with a lot of the people. And I thought, wow, this is something would be a dream to get an award on this Grand Ole Opry
Sure.
stage. And so then my friend there, Tony Ocean, comes out and I go, whoa, I definitely want to do
This is
this.
cool. Yeah. It was cool. I'm surprised nobody's done it anywhere else. Now, they might. We just probably might not know about it. But to get the Grand Ole Opry to give these Tina and Josie the time, yeah, okay, you can have the room. I mean, it was like, wow, red carpet now. How about that red carpet when everybody was walking in? I mean, it was like the Emmys, like the Grammys. It was beautiful.
Absolutely. It's getting very
Yeah,
big.
it's
Yes.
very, very cool. Irene, I got to ask you something now. 2020, March of 2020, COVID hits. You hear about it, everything is shut down. No more music, no more bars, nothing's open. What was the first thing that you thought when you first heard about this? Your feelings?
I didn't believe it. It's crazy, then people dying and all this other, it just was very hard to believe. Then you didn't know what to believe. There was everybody saying all these different
Yeah,
stories.
yeah.
As time went on, of course, you accepted it and you had to live with it and do the best you could do with it. For me, that's when my music was born again.
Well, and like the show was born because of that, because we couldn't like because we were I was off for 3 weeks, and I was only off for 3 weeks here in the suburbs. After 3 weeks, people put tents up, and they still had, in parking lots, they were putting stuff up, and people were still coming out. I mean, Florida and Wisconsin never closed, but it was pretty scary for the bands out there because there wasn't a lot of bands playing
Yeah.
anymore. If you were a solo artist with a piano player or somebody, or with a duo, you were okay. You can still work. But I'm
Mhm.
glad you see it all coming back. Does Arnie keep? Do you see everything coming back again?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. He does. Yeah.
I see
Of
that
course,
too.
he has so many other things going on. He has a circus. He has a light show. He's bringing another theater group in from London. He's doing like you're doing. He's doing these celebrity cruises, and he's bought the jazz
Yeah.
cruises that go out. I don't. I think it's Celebrity Cruise Line. I'm not sure. So
I mean, that's great stuff, and it's great what you're doing. What else? You got something new coming on? New material? What do you got coming out?
I'm continually writing songs, and of course, after the Josie Awards, then I'll take a breath. Right now, I'm working on my show and the Josie Awards, and then after that. But in the meantime, I'm still writing songs and going to release them.
That's going to be great. Now, if they've never seen Irene Michaels, what kind of music would they get? What kind of show? What kind of songs would they be hearing at your show on July 12th at the Alley in Speakeasy in Chicago?
Well, on July 12th, we're going to have our house band, but it won't be our entire band. And I'll be doing some old standards and maybe a few of my new original songs. And Sonny Luca, who's very big in Nashville right now, is going to fly in and do some of the show. We have a very wonderful violinist I haven't met yet, but I've seen her work, so I'm excited to work with her. And so basically, it's pop, American songbook, maybe a little rock and roll,
Maybe
maybe.
just a little. Irene, do you have a favorite? I know you're busy, and thank you for giving us your time. Do you have a favorite vocalist, female vocalist that you like? If you had one top one, what would it be?
Oh, that's like asking Arnie which is your best player.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, do you have
who
one?
is it?
Let's just maybe top two. How about that?
Okay, all right. I'll say I love Stevie Nicks' work. I just like her style, and I like Bette Midler.
Yeah, I mean that's too fantastic right there. You got to love that. Your last question, Irene. What would you tell when someone comes up to you, a young girl or young somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, man, I'd love to get in this business. What kind of I want to act or I want to sing, whatever. What kind of advice would you give them? Would you tell them to grab onto it because it's got to be very difficult right now to get in this business. And I don't think there's that way where one time, yeah, but maybe now with the video and TikTok and all this stuff, people are being made overnight.
Yes.
So but they're not working their goal, they're not working their trade, they're not working their field. What would you say to someone like that, a young girl coming up to you?
I think there's three main words: follow your dreams. Whatever your dream is. If you reach way high, even if you don't get there and you get somewhere below that, at least you have a goal to reach for. Always reach high and never give up your dreams. And it's not really what happens to you, it's how you handle it. Just keep handling it and going forward.
I mean that's all you can tell them. And you, yeah, don't always give up on the dream. We always talk. Irene Michaels, to book a show, you can go, give
Mhm.
us some information how you do that.
They're not out yet. The link should be out for the alley. Are you referring to the alley?
Yes, I mean,
Um,
or how can they book you if they want to book a show? Or
I would go to the website, the alley,
okay,
in Chicago on Fulton, and there'll be a place that where say buy
okay,
tickets, and they could list of shows, and our show is called Our House, Irene Michaels and Our House,
right.
and that's how they can purchase a ticket.
Beautiful. And if they want to book you personally for another venue, who do they get a hold of? How does that work?
Oh, I think they could get a hold of the manager I'm working with right now, which is Suzanne Tripoldi,
Okay.
and I don't remember
Yeah,
her email
if
off.
I got this right, she's at Suzanne at on the scene.com, or you can call Suzanne at 212-945-8786. You know what, Irene, thank you for your time. I just love that we got back together again, and maybe let's work on some stuff together. I think that would be fantastic. It would be great. I'll talk to you definitely before July 12th, but knock 'em dead. Give my best to Arnie and keep. You know what? I'm so happy that you're doing what you're doing, and please don't ever stop. That's like you said, because we gotta. And remember, with all the crazy stuff going on in this world, between religion and politics, you can't talk this, you can't do that. All we've got, thank God, is music. We've got
Right.
music, and it matters. It's amazing how many people get along with when it comes to music, no matter what side of the fence you're on. But when you have music,
It's got
it
language.
brings us all together. There you go. Absolutely. Irene, thank you for your time. Have a great day. God bless you, honey.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. The great Irene Michaels, everybody. Big show coming up July 12th at the Carnival Restaurant, Fulton Market, folks. Upstairs in a beautiful speakeasy. You're going to love it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, Irene. Irene Michaels in the house. You're watching Ocean's Pit, a little show about big things, folks. Boy, I kept some stuff that we were going to talk about because last time I had my guest last week, and we did the full hour, whatever it was. But this is great. And man, I just love talking to old friends and people that are still enjoying music and enjoying with their career and enjoying with their field and what they believe in and trying to. That is so important, folks, which a lot of people just don't do. And I think we got to keep that going, folks. Tonight, folks, well, you know that I lost my very dear friend Karen Serpico this past week, and tonight is going to be her memorial there at the Salerno's funeral parlor on Lake Street in Roselle. That's tonight for Karen Serpico from 3 to 9. If you want to come and show your regards, folks. Also, prayer again, right, talking to my buddy, cousin Tommy, sounding better. And finally, Dave Gage. We went off trying to get hold of Dave Gage for the last couple of weeks. I kept asking, where is Dave Gage? He did reach out to me, and so far he's still there with us. So, Dave, if you're listening, God bless, folks. All right, big show's coming up next week, folks. This week, what am I saying? This Wednesday, we'll be at the new Capri, Osteria Capri in Downers Grove at the Hilton Hotel with Jerry Jams and Lisa P. That's a 7 o'clock hit. Thursday, we'll be at Pasta Mia in Bartlett. That's outside patio, beautiful outside patio on Thursday, the 8th. The 9th, of course, Chicago Prime Steakhouse. Saturday on the 10th will be a Tavern on the Point in Edison Park with Jerry Jams. Let's not forget June 14th, we'll be at the Lisa's Club Cabaret in Norwich, Illinois. And the 15th of June, we'll be at Venuti's in Addison with the Main Event Band. And don't forget the 17th at Ron Onesti's Club Arcata Speakeasy. Back to Lake Geneva, June 22nd for Mars' 100th anniversary. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of great things to talk about, folks. Oh, I'm excited here. Next week, folks, next Monday and Tuesday, we'll be live in Wisconsin Dells with my good pal and co-host for the 2 days, Nick Sahajas. We are going on a trip, me, Nick, Phyllis, and my lovely wife, Laura, to the Dells. We're going away for a couple days, have some fun, some cocktails, a lot of cocktails, some cigars, some laughs. But we're going to go live Monday and Tuesday on Ocean's Pit with Nick Sahajas and Phyllis and my wife, Laura. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's next week, folks. This week, this Wednesday, our guest will be the great entertainer from Chicago, Ron Starr, will be our guest. And don't forget, Friday, the talented, of course, the great Denise Tomasello will be our guest this Friday. All right, Magic Castle owner Milton Larson died at the age of 92 years old. We're looking for Hollywood stories, folks. Also want to wish Danny Ramonde and his lovely wife 23-year anniversary. They're married. God bless you guys. 23 years. We're going to talk about some crazy stuff as it is. I don't know. Welcome to Facebook, folks, or welcome to social media. Just hold on shortly. Someone will disagree with you. You put a post up there, you say something. First of all, I give people credit for putting their feelings on social media. I'm not that much with my feelings because I have this show. So, you know me, I'm an open book. And I piss off people and I don't piss off people, whatever it is. I believe that you should. It's what I feel. And if what you feel, it's coming from your heart, it's true. At least you know exactly where we're coming from. But I admire and kudos to people that put their feelings on social media. And what I tell everybody, if you don't like it, instead of making a negative comment, Why don't you just scroll past it? Right? It's almost like when you're in the car. I mentioned it many times. You're in the car on the radio, right? You turn the radio on. You don't like the song, you turn the next one on. Or if you have Spotify, you keep switching songs, whatever you have in your car. You don't listen to the same song over and over. You don't like it, you go to the next song. Same like with television, with your remote control, which we've been doing for centuries. I don't like this show. How many times on your remote you don't like it, you keep switching? It's the same thing with social media. You don't have to be rude and mean just because someone likes somebody that you don't. The first thing you got to do is attack. Why do we have to attack? We don't have to attack. And if we do, you don't like it, turn around the other page. Marianne says, yeah, I have friends that I say, oh, I don't go on Facebook anymore because I don't like the comments people make or things that they show my answers and scroll and don't read it. I mean, come on. Guys, we've been doing this for years. It's not brain science here. We're going with a remote and liking it. Just scroll. Why? Right? You don't attack the TV if you don't like the TV show that you're watching, do you? There are people in it's this world right now. Everybody's ready to attack. They're jealous. Whatever. I don't know what it is. Like when you go to a restaurant, for instance, now, especially during COVID, especially even now, a lot of restaurants out there, folks, they're understaffed still. They're still understaffed. And they're just trying to stay in business. The mom and pop organizations are trying to stay in business. They're still trying out there. They're still trying to do what they're doing. And just because maybe you waited a little long, or maybe, I'm not saying this happens at the situations are all different. But what I'm trying to say is, this was back in 2020, 21, was during COVID. Some places were open and they were letting in and they couldn't get seated fast enough, or it wasn't blah, 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 blah. And they went right to Yelp. Well, this restaurant, blah, 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 blah. And you destroyed the restaurant. You destroyed the worker. The worker probably lost its job. I don't get it. One of the words I hate is trigger. Your trigger, your responsibility isn't the world's obligation to tiptoe around you. Kim Peterson LaFew, another great singer in the Chicagoland area. How you doing, Kim? Tony Toto, Jerry Jams, Daniel Raimondi. All I can say is thank you for Sunday, man. You guys just gave it from the heart, what you always do when you play, and I just love you guys. We all do have to agree, but we all are supposed to be honorable and respectful. That's truly what we've gotten away from, Mo. Great to see you on Laura yesterday. Paul, you know what? You just hit it right on that was perfect what you just said. We got away from that. And you know why? Because social media is easy to say this sucks when you're in social media. Some people don't even know who comment on you. You just know him because he's their friend. Out of your 5,000 friends, they're just your friend. Some people don't even know. Back in the day when you had a problem, you face-to-face the person and say blah, blah, blah. And then you know what happened then. A lot of people don't like to do that anymore. They use their social media as a protection now, as an outlet. So I don't know. A little crazy. How about some birthdays we missed? Missed a lot of them. Let's go. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine celebrated her birthday. This was going back to last Friday. Scott Hill from Skid Row. Let's see. Cleo Green. He's another rap artist. Corey Hart from Canada celebrates a birthday today. Nate Robinson from the New York Knickerbockers celebrates a birthday. Mitch Weissman, who played Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney and Beatlemania. And a great musician, great Mitch Weissman. I got to get Mitch on the show, man. I love this guy. Colin Farrell turns 47 years old. Brooke Shields turns 58 years old. Harry Witz, our old friend Harry, celebrates a birthday. Andy Griffith from the old Andy Griffith Show and Matlock and more. Morgan Freeman, one of the greatest voices in Hollywood, 86 years old. How about our little dog Mia? Celebrated 5 years old, little Mia. Happy birthday, Mia. Let's go. We also got Anisette Morissette celebrated her birthday last week. Winona Judd turned 59. Dave Hoekstra, former Chicago Sun-Times, one of the best. Dave Hoekstra celebrates. The great Charlie Watts, one of the greatest drummers, of course, was not with us anymore, from the Rolling Stones. And, of course, another Rolling Stone member, Ronnie Wood, celebrating a birthday this past week as well. Ocean's Pit, little show about big things. We are almost coming down to the end. Ronnie B, hope you're doing well. Jerry Jams, it's great seeing you all, folks. This is a CNBC, a 37-year-old who makes $100,000 a year. You got to love this guy. He built himself one of these RVs. It's one of these small little RVs. It's got no bathroom. It's got no bed. And he takes it and he drives around where he wants. I mean, I always wanted to do that. Get an RV and just go from town to town. You know what I mean? Because my wife would never do that. She won't go in an RV. She won't go in the tent. She won't do any of that stuff. But I like doing this stuff. Gary Witz, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Another drummer in the Chicagoland area. Hope you're doing well. And he built it himself, man. I mean, just gotta love people that do that kind of stuff. All right. What can you talk passionately about? That's a question I ask everybody. I mean, there's some people that can't talk for like a good 30 minutes on one particular topic. I have no problem talking about travel or history and movies and music. I can talk for 30 minutes about that. I mean, you give me something about music and people that know me or people that watch the show and people that watch it, either they watch it at noon or they watch it later on in the evening. I just love that stuff. And there's some people who can't do that to try to keep a conversation. And I mean, I just love talking. And you learn something new every day. It's something that I can meet somebody new and I'll learn something that I never knew before. And that's why I love meeting new people because I like to learn. I like to learn. I mean, I just turned 60 in December, right? I've been very fortunate to do this. I mean, I don't have that many other hobbies. I fish. I make my models, my monster models and stuff. You know, I love to read, but I always love to learn stuff. My wife says I have a lot of knowledge of useful, unnecessarily unuseful information. That's what my wife says. But, you know, I love doing it. There you go. Cooking, music, travel, sound, animals. You know, I can talk about animals all the time, and much I love that. So I don't know. It's just, I mean, I see so many people give up on what they like or what they dream because I'm afraid I'm not going to make it. Just like Irene said earlier today, try to get to that point. You know, don't give up on it. Don't give up. You might not get to that part, but you might still. You got to try instead of saying, oh, my God, I should have did that. I could have did that. Forget about the shoulda, coulda. Go out and do it yourself. It's very important. Just because I'm nice to you does not mean I've not heard what you said about me. Paulie sent that in. Paulie, great seeing you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. How about this? Whoopi, I mentioned it again, and I got to mention it again because you know how much I don't care for The View. Whoopi and Sonny and Joy and all those. The Whoopi Goldberg, again, voted the most hated woman in Hollywood by her own peers. How can you guys? She went to Tina Turner's funeral and she was told to leave. How much can someone hate somebody? Did they tell him to leave when they come to the funeral? Mine is music area bands and my musical dance and music family. Been blessed to know all these phenomenal people. That gives me great pleasure to know Chicago tall. All right, Paul. Well, thank you for that, brother. And you know, that's exactly what we're all in the same boat here. Another great quote: if you can't change your mind, then you're not using it. Right? You get some people that got this tunnel vision and they can't change their mind about stuff. And especially when you get the facts thrown right into your face and they don't want to believe the facts. Well, they doctored it or they did this, they did that. It was Paul. It was a great feeling meeting. It was great to meet Priscilla Presley. I mean, I know some people that were big diehard fans of Elvis and they were like, meet the Queen. And I thought she was a sweet lady. Just a regular lady. Remember, she was taken away. Elvis, I mean, she met Elvis at 14 years old. But here was I was going to ask her, and I didn't ask her because how do you ask, what did your parents like at 14 years old letting you leave and date because it was Elvis Presley? That's one thing I never understood about that whole Priscilla Elvis thing. And I think I married at 16 or something. I didn't follow the whole story. But that thing kind of irked me. I mean, would you let your parents to this day of some George Clooney comes by your daughter and wants to marry her or date her? I mean, see, now you can't do that stuff. 30, 40 years ago, you can probably date somebody who's younger, but you can't do that stuff now. It's got to be a little, Laura, Mizzy, I will see you later too, my friend. It's going to be a tough night tonight for Karen Serpico at Salerno's. funeral parlor in Roselle today because we talked about our good friend Karen Shapico. It's got to be a little difficult. I'm saying right now what do you tell her parents? What do you tell these parents? She was 14 years old. Go with Elvis. Go ahead. Exactly, Mo. Old school Chicago would never happen anywhere in the world. But you're right about that, Paul. I mean, I don't know. Imagine that. I couldn't handle it if it was me. What do I know? Bud Light. They're having some problems. And Anheuser-Busch lost a lot of money, folks. They're saying that Bud Light helped. Of course, there's an actor, Kevin Sorbo, was an actor in Chicago. I think he played Hercules on the TV series, whatever he did. I don't know what else he's done, but he made a quote that made some sense. He goes, Bud Light helped people stop drinking more than AA did. Yeah, right? Is that crazy or what? Taylor Swift, my daughter went to go see her. Our daughter Gianna went to see her, folks. And the lines and lines that were set up just for the merchandising table, for shirts and stuff like that. Wow. And she sang 3.5 hours. They said she sang 3.5 hours, 3 nights in a row. I barely made it with 2 straight hours on Sundays. So I don't know, maybe. I don't know. But what I did find out, what people were saying, that some of the Taylor Swift fans were wearing diapers to the show. And it meant because they didn't want to leave their seats. They want to make sure they capture every single moment of the concert. And, it is what it is. Like when people were selling Taylor Swift rainwater, it's the same thing back in the day when the Elvis, you can buy the Beatles were sleeping and they would cut up the sheet at the hotel and they'd sell you a little sheet that George slept on, or Elvis sheet, or whatever back then. Everybody had David Cassidy, There you go, Kathy. Yeah, you're not a fan. Okay, there's a lot of people that don't like her either. I couldn't tell you what song she sang, so I don't know anything about her. But I know she's like the second most richest woman in music. I think Beyonce or Rihanna is number 1 or 2. It really depends. There you go, Boyd. Boyd always comes up with some good ones. She add tracks to her voice. I think that's so too. But everybody's doing that now. It's not a big deal. But to sing 3.5 hours like that, 3 nights in a row, that's got to be a little difficult, folks. Our old mayor, Lori Lightfoot, what do you think she's up to, folks? She might teach at Harvard. Okay. Problem is, what is she going to teach? That's the part I'm worried about. You had to throw that in there. Yeah, you got to, Tony. Absolutely. I don't know, folks. God bless that these people are doing what they're doing. They're making their money. They're going out. God bless them, man. You got to love that for that. We got some more birthdays. How about some birthdays here? A couple more, throw some at you. Ronnie Dunn from Brooks and Dunn turned 70 years old. Marla Gibbons, Wheezy from the Jeffersons. I love these old actresses and stuff. My favorite. Leah Thompson celebrates her birthday from Back to the Future. Mel Blanc, he was the great voices of Bugs Bunny and all these other great characters. Would have been 115 years old today. Diana Canova, she was played Caroline on Soap. I used to love that show. Pat Boone, another great entertainer, celebrated her birthday. Jamie Kennedy, actor. Frank Rossi, another Southside Chicago entertainer. Frankie, hope you had a great birthday, buddy. Don Amici, of course. And let's not forget Hollywood Joe Namath, 80 years old, formerly of the NFL New York Jets, the great Joe Namath. We are coming to 12 o'clock, folks. You know what that means. It means it's time to say goodbye. Let's thank our sponsor, last 2 sponsors, folks. Patriot Funding Incorporated. That's Dave Antonelli in Roselle. Commercial money lending at its finest, 630-675-4730. And let's not forget our good buddies from Ace Hardware again, folks. Remember, Ace Hardware, Des Plaines, Norwich, Evergreen Park in Warrenville, helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods, folks. Don't forget to take advantage of their auto key programming at all their stores. We program cut car keys at 50% less than the dealership. And don't forget to download the Ace Reward app's easy way to keep track of your points, coupons, and special offers. That's Ace Hardware. helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods, folks. Very, very important. I want to thank you all for watching the show today. I want to thank the great Irene Michaels, everybody. She is fantastic. Make sure you check out her show at the Speakeasy Carnival on July 12th. It's going to be a lot of fun, and she's going to give you guys her band there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, guys, keep supporting local establishments and live entertainment. And don't forget this week, Capri in Downers Grove this Wednesday, Thursday, Pasta Mia in Bartlett, Friday, Chicago Prime Steakhouse, Saturday, Tavern on the Point in Edison Park. I hope you guys are great. Check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com. Give us a call at 847-769-8609 to book a show, guys. Again, the great words of Ringo Starr, peace and love. Peace and love to everybody out there, man. And just remember, man, be kind. Be kind right now and support your friends out there. And if you got any last-minute beefs, try to make it better. Never going to be the same, but at least try to make it better. You guys have an incredible day. God bless you, everybody. Nick Sahajas, the piano man, going to take us out. Take us out.
Time to go, it's the end of the show. See you later from Tony O.
Bye-bye, everybody.